All right, good morning. It is currently 8:03 a.m. and today we're going to try to build an app that implements AWS Amplify, which is Amazon's Firebase, is what I've understood it as. So I want to do a login screen that actually allows users to log in using the Amplify or Amazon Amplify as the backend, which is something I haven't done for a while, and it's a start of a new app that I'm building. But I'm also getting the itch to try Vim again. So what I want to do is I want to get Tmux and Vim or Neovim on my laptop, and I want to try to do this whole project using Vim, which I think will be interesting. I haven't done it for a long time, so yeah, that's what we're doing today. And I guess the first thing is going to be to just see what we have installed. I don't know if we have the things that we need, like Neovim. I don't know if I have that installed. So the first step is to check if we have nvim test.py. Okay, so we don't have Neovim, so we can do brew install nvim. I think it's nvim. All right, I think we have Neovim now, so we can do brew, install tmux. Okay, so I think we're going to use tmux. So we're going to do tmux new s, and we're going to name it AWS Amplify. All right, now we have a window. So now we can do create all right, and then we do vim nvim. Wait, how do we open Neovim? Okay, so now we open up a new window, and we're going to use this window to run the Flutter app. So we're going to do Xcode. We need to start the simulator. Open a simulator app, open -a. Okay, so that has to download, but what we can do is we can try to learn how to use Vim. Okay, so let's try to install some sort of theme. Neovim. I mean, this will be very interesting to see if ChatGPT can solve this. I've opened the image to help you match the color scheme in your code. I'll analyze the differences between your current setup and the appearance on the image. I will guide you how to adjust the blah blah blah. Background color. The background color of the editor seems to have a dark, slightly muted tone in the picture. You can adjust this by setting background to dark in Neovim. It doesn't seem like ChatGPT can do what I wanted, which is just like, give me the colors. I don't know, I feel like this is not the color that we see here. So something still tells me that we don't have the Nord color scheme going on. Something tells me that we actually have, or I think we have, the Grovbox theme. All right, I'm not sure what's going on right now. Like this, now the color scheme is completely different. All right, so I might have actually figured something out now. I think that if we look here, we can see that it's sort of transparent, and it might actually be that the transparency is what makes it gray instead of blue. So I'm gonna see if I can change it so that it's not transparent anymore. Okay, so now it's not transparent, but it's completely gray. I don't understand. Why is it gray? It doesn't make any sense to me. All right, so I think I've got the theme running now at least, which only took 3 hours to do. So time well spent. I definitely think so. But now we have the Nord theme working. We have Nord working for the entire terminal. The problem was basically I needed the terminal to run the Nord theme because the terminal, I think, was interfering with the theme. So that's what I did, and now that's what I've done. All right, now we have the app running, the demo app. We've got the theme set up, so it feels a little bit nicer to work with it. I'm gonna reset the environment a little bit. Yeah, because right now it's kind of set up weird. We have a really big window here for the terminal, which I don't feel like we need. I think we want the biggest window to be for the code, and then we want maybe a small window like this for the terminal. So what are we going to do? Well, we're going to do B and D. Wait, okay. Control B and which one is it? Okay. That's what we wanted, I think. And then we go over here. And we run the code. And then what we could do is we could also split that into, nope, wait. So we have another window there if we want to. And that could maybe be for the Git repository actually. So we cd projects, cd AWS, and then do git init. Using master as a name for the default this subject git config names commonly used. All right, then we'll go to my profile. Create a new repository and just name it AWS Amplify. Git. And I do dislike the fact that people change it to main, so I'm gonna do master. And then we're gonna do this. All right, now we have a master branch. All right, AWS Amplify, and we're on the master branch. Perfect. All right, I'm gonna do some pull-ups. Oh, my back. Okay, So my approach is going to be to start using Vim without really knowing how to use it. I know how to move up and down. Okay, the pull-ups really gassed me a little bit. But I know how to move up and down. I know how to do the change inner word thing. So let's say here that we want to delete something within the parentheses. Then we can do CI parentheses, and then we can type in whatever we want. But we don't want to do that. So U will actually undo that. Okay, so what we're going to start with, I guess, is creating some sort of screen that allows us to log in. Now, as you can see, I'm spamming K. So my idea here is I'm going to try to use Vim for this project and learn the commands as I go. So right now, as soon as I run into something, instead of going through a tutorial on how to use Vim before I start using Vim, I feel like I know enough to use it, sort of. I'm not going to be very efficient with what I know, but I know enough to get around and make changes and actually code. I'm going to be super slow, but I know enough to use it. And so my idea is that I'm going to try to find, as I'm coding, I'm going to try to find things that I feel could be improved, or where I feel like I could probably speed up my workflow. For instance, one of those things is where when I was trying to go up and down, I'm just like pressing J, 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 J. I don't know how many times I've pressed it, but this doesn't seem very efficient. And I know that this is not how you're supposed to do it in Vim. So therefore, I'm going to Google how do you move better within Vim. So let's do that. Okay, so Control F gives us the bottom of the app or of the project. Okay, so I think this is very useful. Counter. And then we can see the counter, and then we can go, with N we can go to the different places where it's displayed, and then we can do CIW to change it, or we can undo it. Can we change the word in all the places? Okay, so that was a little bit more advanced maybe than what I wanted it to be, but we could try it. Wait. Counter. And then we can do escape, this, and percent S counter to test. Okay, so there you can actually see that it changes as I write it. So that's really cool. That's something that's available in most text editors, but it's good to know how to do that in Vim. Okay, G is the bottom. And then G again is the top. Okay, so I think we want to have line numbers, and so the absolute numbers and the relative numbers. The reason for this is that you can jump to specific lines, so that's going to be way easier to navigate to, rather than like searching for, okay, I want to go to the Flutter demo. Okay, that didn't work, but I want to go to Flutter. Okay, so now I am at that thing, which is something that I could do. I could just like slash search for whatever I want, which is probably going to be a pretty good way to navigate. But I think we still want to have some line numbers here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here, and we're going to just actually open up a new window, and we're going to navigate to the .config Neovim, and then we're going to do vim init.vim, and then in here we're going to type in set number and relative number. We're going to actually paste it, I think I've there, okay. Okay, and then we can do control D to exit out of that one. And then control B, go in here, and then do escape, restart. Okay. All right, so now as you can see, we have both a line number up here, which is, I don't know how this works, but if we go down, how does it work? Okay, so we see the actual line that we're on, so 15, but then we can also look up and we see how many lines up each of these things are. So if we want to go to line 8, for instance, it's going to be very easy to say like go up by 8 lines, and then we end up at this line. If we want to go to line 10, or we want to change something down here, it's very easy to go down to, or it's very easy to know how far down we want to go. Whereas if we just have absolute numbers here, then we'd have to calculate like, okay, I'm at 25 now, I want to go to 33, how many lines is that? 8, and it's just a slower method, I think, rather than just checking the actual number. So I think this is going to be quite useful. All right, I don't really know what I didn't record there, but I've done a lot of things. So I've learned a little bit about how to navigate between different files, how to create files, and all kinds of things actually, which it's sort of annoying now that I realize that I wasn't recording the screen at this time. So what we can do, I've basically created here, actually let's escape. So if you press GT, you can move between different tabs, and we can do tab new if we want to create a new tab. And this is then in an empty tab where we can type in things. We can undo that, and then we can just do Q to enter out of that tab. And yeah, there's a lot of things. I've basically copied now this whole thing, which you just do by entering visual mode, and then you can do what was it, 33 down, and then we select the actual text. You can press yank or Y to copy it, and then we press JT to move to the actual file that we want to change. But I think this is actually the line that we want to be in, or the file that we want to be in. So now what I want to do is I want to change my app and all of these names here to be different, so that they're actually unique to the login page. So what we can do then, I think, is %s and then do whatever the name is. So my home page, And then we want to change that to be login form. And okay. It's strange how that didn't change. So it changed all of this, but it didn't change this thing for some reason. So anyway, login form. Escape and then go up to this one and then do I, delete, login form. Okay, and class login forms. Okay. So I think this might be all that we need. Okay, let's see now if we actually have something. Child. Color red, height 100, width 100. Okay, so we do get something here now. It's definitely a little bit slower at this point doing it with Vim, but I'm honestly kind of surprised by how fast I feel like I'm getting more efficient. I know I've used Vim in the past, but I've only been able to kind of use it. Like I can use it and write files and edit things in it, but I'm not very fast with it. But now I'm excited about this, to be honest, because there's just something about the idea of being a Vim user, however ridiculous that might sound. It's just kind of, it would be cool to use it because a lot of people, like most people that do use it properly or have used it for a long time, they really like it. And from what I can tell, it seems pretty genuine to me. It seems like there's obviously the kind of people out there that just say that they like it because it's cool, but or it's hard to do, and they kind of pretend that like it's a really good thing where they're actually just doing it to kind of show off. But you can also tell that there's lots of people out there that do use it genuinely and genuinely like it, without having really any pride in it. And so it is kind of enticing, and it makes me think that maybe there is something to it. And I do feel like it is, based on this little experience that I do have. But it's just getting comfortable with all the keybinds and like having it sort of become part of you instead of having to think too much about it, which right now I have to think a lot. I think will make it will make me more efficient. All right. Something that I do need though is code completion, because code completion right now I don't have, and it's not strictly necessary, but it's just it's going to make my life so much easier coding this, because right now if I type something in, I don't get any sort of suggestions for what to do. So let's say that I type in border, there's no suggestions here for anything. So that's something that I need. So we're going to try to figure that out. Okay, so I can't really figure out how to accept the code completion. I don't feel like the code completion is working properly, but I also don't know how to accept it because I can't, like pressing any other button right now, it just adds more text because we're in the edit mode. Pressing tab just adds a tab. Pressing enter just pushes us down to the next line. And yeah, ChatGPT didn't really help. It says that you're supposed to type in like Control Y or something, which again didn't work. So child Control Y. Okay, it did work. Ah. All right, so now I've actually bound a few new keys. So I bound Shift and Tab to be able to cycle through the different suggestions, because before I had to use the arrow keys, which takes my hands a little bit too far off the keyboard, I think. So the better way is to cycle through it like that, and then you can just press Tab by to select whatever it is you want. So colors dot blue. Okay, I don't know why it doesn't want to suggest anything there, but I feel like the suggestions still aren't as good as I would want them to be. I know when I've used Visual Studio Code, the suggestions are a lot better. There's code completion that almost like can do a lot of stuff for you, especially now with like Copilot and that, but I still think this could work. All right, so let's figure this out. So something that I'm a bit skeptical about is the fact that you can't type in Flutter run here. But if we look at the repository here, it says that this is a command that you should be able to run. So run the current project. This needs to be run from within a Flutter project, which we are in. But I believe we should be able to do to just type in Flutter run, which I don't know where I saw that, but yeah, so here. The Flutter run command can also optionally take arguments that you might otherwise pass on the command line, such as Flutter run, blah, blah, blah. But they suggest that you're supposed to type in that, which I think means that we should be able to run it. If this whole repository is properly installed. Something like that, and All right, I'm gonna take a break and go have some lunch. Okay, so I can tell that I've pushed my food intake a little bit too much today because I can feel my eyes are just tired, and that doesn't tend to be the case if I eat properly. But I feel like I've made quite good progress. Gotten the Neovim installed and gotten everything set up for the environment. Kind of unnecessary, some would say, because I didn't really need to do any of that. I could have just used Visual Studio Code and I would have had no setup time. But I am really curious about really genuinely using Vim for a while, which is going to slow down the progress of this project, but I'm hoping that the benefits will come towards the end, that it's sort of like a compound interest sort of thing. So that's the idea, and that's why I'm spending a little bit more time now at the start just setting everything up. And the whole idea behind this is that I want to document the process of building this thing that I'm building, and I don't want to kind of reveal what it is that I'm building yet, just because I think it might be a good idea, an actual good idea, compared to other apps that I've done in the past. So I feel like it kind of makes sense to keep it under wraps a little bit before I get to the point where I've actually made some progress and it's kind of close to release. And so the way that I'm doing that is I can show you how I'm building a login screen using the Amplify AWS system. And that's one part of the app. But then I can copy all of the things that I've done for this video and I can just paste it into the actual project. And then I can do that for all the different project or the different parts, maybe. And I'll at least, with every video that I make about it, I'll get faster at doing the part of the app. So when I then have to redo it for the actual app, I will be faster. That's my thinking. But I don't know. There's also the concept of like open sourcing things and showing every part of the project. And some people are kind of for that. And some people say that it's better to just reveal everything from the start. But I feel like this particular app that I want to build, I know there are other apps out there that do things in this category, but I'm doing something new within that category, I think. And if I then reveal the whole thing on YouTube, I'm kind of worried that someone or some of those apps might steal the idea, because they probably have big teams. They must have big teams building the apps. So if they catch wind of this idea, then they might want to do it themselves. Maybe it's not a good idea, but I genuinely think it's a good idea. Everyone that I've talked to says like that's a really good idea, and they get pretty excited about the whole project. So, and that's the first time I think that I've actually had an app idea where when I tell people about it, they get excited, and they almost like, they get very excited. They get excited to the point where like, I definitely want to see this, or I would want to invest in this even. So yeah, and I've been so bad at like completing apps in the past on this channel. I've just like, you're probably sick of me starting a new app and like, I'm building an app again. And I don't know if I'll finish this one, but I feel like I have so many ideas, and it's kind of like some of the ideas are just not that great, and I start building them, and then I'm like, well, this isn't really what I want to do, or this isn't something that I believe in myself, and that's where it usually dies, or where I usually stop. And yeah, I don't know. I think you have to try things over and over, and have to like find something that you actually believe in, and that's sort of what I'm searching for constantly. I'm constantly searching for, like, what's the idea? What am I going to build? And in the spring of this year, 2024, I was thinking that I was going to do like build small apps that didn't really matter, and just get better at building apps. And it wasn't about actually finishing the project. It was just about like building apps and getting better at the process, which I think set me up good for now. But I also understand it's kind of boring watching someone build an app and then not finish it, and especially if you get invested in it. So yeah, I don't know how to approach that, because it's so, like, how do you know if something's good and if it's really something that you should continue doing? I struggle with that. All right, I'm gonna watch just a video about someone showing their Vim setup and how they use it. Just to get an idea of what some commands are that I should be using. All right, so I think I've found some really cool or interesting shortcuts or keybinds that I can use. Okay, so let's have a look. I've actually written a little bit of a list here with some keybinds, just to make sure that I remember what I've learned today, because even if I have spent a bit of time today, I won't remember this tomorrow. But I figured out how to solve the issue of auto-completion in the code. So what you had to do was you had to actually type in cock install, I think. It was cock flutter, and that allowed me to then get, let's just have a look actually so that I don't say the wrong thing. But yeah, cock install, cock flutter, and that way you got some suggestions like this is code I haven't written. So context I haven't written, data I haven't written, data I haven't written. So that's really cool. Now we also have another thing which I think was quite cool, which is I was watching this video, which I've watched before. I think I've watched this several times, but it's this guy on YouTube. And the video is called How to Do 90% of What Plugins Do with Just Vim. And if you search for that, you'll find it. And that's a really good video, because one of the main videos that got me excited about Vim. But what he shows, one thing that he shows that's really cool, which is the find command, where you can just type in find, and then we can type in like main or something, and then it will actually autocomplete, and we can just search for whatever it is that we're looking for, and it will autocomplete for us. And there's also something that we can do, which is find, and then you can do a fuzzy search, which is .dart, let's say, and then we get all the different Dart files that we have in the project, which is a really good way to just quickly find the things that you want. So that's one thing. But then we also have another thing that he showed, which is if I start editing here and I type in Control N, then I will get this list of just auto-completion stuff, and I can do Control P, and I can search through it. I can do Control N to go down, and P to go up. And this will give me some options here for things that I've already written down inside this file. So kind of maybe speed up my workflow a little bit. I don't know what happens if I do this. So let's go up, down, and type in ska. Okay, I don't know. We do get auto-completion for the Flutter stuff, which is really good. So we can tab and select the stuff, do a parentheses, and parentheses. All right, so that's, I don't know, I'm not that great at it yet, but that is something that I've learned, and I think that's going to speed up my workflow a little bit. I still don't have the Flutter run command. That still doesn't work, so I don't seem to actually have the Dart-lang Vim plugin working, but it doesn't matter too much since we're actually able to get some auto-completion, which is the main thing. But I'm excited. Like, I like this stuff. I think this is a lot of fun, just figuring out a new system, and I think it could speed up my workflow maybe. But now it's 4 p.m. and I've been working since 8. So that's an 8-hour day done, and we're going to come back tomorrow.